He's dangerous, and he should not be the donkey that is leading the lions.
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If you could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out.
This guy is failing society's most vulnerable. He should be removed.
Can she be clear what she means by that? I'm not clear what she means.
How much clearer do you want me to be?
Oh, man. The Met Police is doing that. It's doing that and that.
The most shocking whistleblower scandal to hit London politics has just exploded into the open. A decorated former Metropolitan Police detective has stepped forward with evidence so damning that it could destroy Sadiq Khan's career forever. What started as whispers in police stations has become a full-scale political earthquake that's shaking Westminster to its core. But what this retired detective uncovered will make your blood run cold. John Wedger spent years investigating some of London's darkest secrets as a Metropolitan Police officer. He thought he was doing his job, protecting children and bringing criminals to justice. He had no idea he was about to uncover a web of corruption and cover-ups that reached the very top of London's power structure.
I have set up things like the Lighthouse, funded by City Hall, while we've set up 4 hubs that help survivors of child sexual abuse, while we're investing in London's Violence and Exploitation Support Service, while I commissioned the HMI to look into the issue of child exploitation, while the Met Police Service now employs 1,200 child protection officers, while we have Operations Interior, first begun in London, while we're the only police force that began the V100, targeting the 100 most violent
I just
young
asked
people.
her, yeah.
But here's where the story gets even more shocking. When Wedger tried to investigate these crimes, when he tried to save these children, he claims his own superiors shut him down. Not just ignored him or dismissed his concerns, they actively blocked his investigations and threatened to destroy his life if he didn't stay quiet. So what exactly did this whistleblower find? The details are disturbing beyond belief.
Where I'd actually uncovered kids there on an industrial scale from the age of 9 to 14 that were being trafficked for prostitution. They were being sold in crack houses in the mornings. They'll be swapped for 9, 10 cracks, box of crack a piece. From there they'll be taken to hotels that did a rental by an hour, and usually the people that would go in there to have sex with the children were builders that were away from home that were working in central London.
But the worst part was still to come. After being abused in these cheap hotels, the children were then taken to expensive Arab restaurants in Mayfair, around Curzon Street, where they were sold again for as much as £2,000 each. This wasn't happening once or twice. According to Wedger, this was a daily occurrence that had been going on for years. The detective says he identified 52 potential victims in just one operation. 6 of these children were in desperate need of immediate help. He prepared detailed reports, gathered evidence, and presented his findings to senior police officers and council representatives. Their response? Complete silence and active obstruction. But why would anyone want to cover up such horrific crimes against children? According to Wedger, when he tried to push forward with his investigations, he was told by his superiors that if he ever mentioned what he had uncovered, he would lose his home, his job, and his children. The reason given was chilling. They told him that exposing this would damage the Metropolitan Police past, present, and future.
I left that unit. That case had 36 young children that were all subject to care orders that were, like I said, from the age of 9 to 14 that were being pimped out. Every single one was harbouring a Class A drug addiction, and many had life-threatening diseases relating to their lifestyle, such as HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, and contagious tuberculosis. Nothing was being done to help these kids.
Think about that for a moment. Senior police officers were more concerned about protecting the reputation of their organization than protecting children from sexual abuse and trafficking. Wedger didn't just work on cases in one area either. He claims his detailed reports about grooming gangs operating in Tower Hamlets, Croydon, and Westminster were also stonewalled by his bosses. So where does Sadiq Khan fit into all this? The answer will shock you. Throughout 2025, Khan has been repeatedly asked about grooming gangs in London. Not once or twice, but 9 separate times he has been questioned by conservative politicians in the London Assembly about how many sex abuse rings might be operating in the capital. Each time, Khan has found ways to avoid giving a straight answer. He acts confused about what the term grooming gangs even means. He deflects, he changes the subject, and he refuses to engage with the substance of the questions. But his most outrageous move came in February when he rejected a proposal for a £4.5 million independent inquiry into grooming gangs in London.
With a national rape gang inquiry expected to start in the coming months, I'm asking, if found guilty of malfeasance in high office, should politicians be forced to resign their positions and face a criminal investigation?
Let that sink in. The mayor of one of the world's biggest cities was offered the chance to fund a proper investigation into child sexual exploitation in his city, and he said said no. Why would any politician refuse an independent inquiry that could help protect children? What is Sadiq Khan so afraid people might find out? The whistleblower John Wedger has shown journalists his police notebook from the time, along with contemporary reports he sent to his superiors. He has also provided his detailed statement that was submitted to the 2022 independent inquiry into child sexual abuse. This isn't some conspiracy theorist making wild claims. This is a decorated police officer with physical evidence backing up every allegation he's making. But Khan's response to these revelations has been even more telling than his previous evasions. Instead of promising to investigate or showing concern for the alleged victims, Khan's office immediately dismissed Wedger's claims as false, malicious, and politically motivated.
You talk to any whistleblower like me, we will all say the same. There'll be no difference. This guy is failing society's most vulnerable. He should be removed immediately. This man is a threat to the safety of vulnerable young children of every ethnicity and every class. He's dangerous.
But the political fallout from these revelations is already starting to spread. Conservative politicians are demanding Khan's resignation. Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, says Wedger's comments are damning and represent yet another example of a cover-up by police who shut down investigations into child sexual exploitation in London. Reform UK MP Lee Anderson has also called for Khan to either step down or be removed from office, saying the country cannot allow the continued destruction of the capital city. Even more damning, grooming gang survivors themselves have spoken out against Khan's handling of these issues. One survivor from East London told journalists she was disgusted by the mayor's response, saying his dismissive attitude makes it even harder for victims of sexual abuse to come forward. Another survivor from South Yorkshire, who was abused 20 years ago, hit out at Khan's response, saying that wherever there is evidence of grooming gangs, those in power need to do everything they can to ensure the responsible people are brought to court and victims receive justice. Political commentator Carol Malone delivered a scathing assessment of Khan's performance, calling him the worst London mayor ever.
But 9 times he was asked, 9 times he refused to answer, and it's clear that this has been happening. Now, should he quit? He shouldn't be allowed to quit. He should be got rid of, because if he did know about it and ignored it or covered it up, that's just beyond belief. If he didn't know about it, what the hell is he doing all day long in his job? It's his job to know when this is going on in his city.
But the implications of this scandal go far beyond just one politician's career. The Metropolitan Police have responded to Wedger's allegations by saying they accept that child exploitation often goes underreported, and they are working to improve the quality of data they hold on the issue. However, they also say their priority remains supporting victims and investigating alleged offenses without fear or favor. Critics argue that if Wedger's claims are true, the police have been doing exactly the opposite for years. The timing of these revelations is particularly significant. The government announced a national inquiry into grooming gangs earlier this year, which felt like progress to many survivors and campaigners. But if Khan continues to refuse to cooperate with investigations in London, it raised serious questions about whether the capital will be properly included in any national review. What makes this scandal even more explosive is the context in which it's happening. Khan has spent years positioning himself as a champion of women's rights and someone who takes violence against women and girls seriously. He has spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on advertising campaigns telling men to challenge misogynistic behavior. He regularly speaks at events about protecting women and making London safer.
Sadiq Khan has been the worst London mayor that we have ever had. The city is in a mess thanks to him. The transport system, TfL, 12.9 billion in debt. It's just appalling, the city. So the fact that he did what he did tells me that he maybe did know about it. But to reject an inquiry, what he's doing is he's putting these young girls in danger.
But there's another layer to this scandal that makes it even more politically explosive. The issue of grooming gangs has become a major political flashpoint across the UK. Towns like Rotherham, Rochdale, and Telford have been rocked by scandals involving the systematic sexual exploitation of young girls, often by gangs of men from specific ethnic backgrounds. These cases have raised difficult questions about political correctness, community relations, and and whether authorities have been reluctant to investigate certain crimes because they involve sensitive issues of race and religion. Khan's apparent reluctance to engage with these issues in London feeds into broader concerns about whether politicians are putting political considerations ahead of child protection. The whistleblower John Wedger has been invited to participate in the upcoming national inquiry commissioned by the government. His evidence could prove crucial in understanding the true scale of the problem across the country. But his allegations about cover-ups and obstruction in London raise serious questions about whether other areas have experienced similar problems. If senior police officers and politicians have been actively preventing investigations into child sexual exploitation, how many other cases might have been buried? How many other victims might have been failed by the very people who should have protected them?
That disgusting human being who happens to be the Mayor of London, who also happens to hold the title of the Police and Crime Commissioner as part of that role, that responsibility, obfuscating, gaslighting, bullying, belittling. These are little girls, underage minors, being raped by gangs in our capital city. You do not play games over this. If this was anybody else in any other position of authority, that clip alone should have seen his head roll.
The scandal has also highlighted the courage it takes for whistleblowers to come forward. Wedger has risked his reputation and potentially his safety to expose what he believes is systematic wrongdoing. His willingness to provide evidence and speak publicly gives credibility to his claims and puts enormous pressure on Khan to respond more substantively than he has so far. The mayor's office continues to deny all the allegations and insist they are politically motivated. They say Khan remains committed to building a safer London and treating violence against women and girls with the utmost urgency. But their response raises as many questions as it answers. If these allegations are false, why not welcome an independent investigation that would clear Khan's name? If they are politically motivated, why not provide evidence of the mayor's actual efforts to combat child sexual exploitation in London? The fact that Khan rejected the proposed £4.5 million inquiry suggests he has something to hide rather than something to prove. As the scandal continues to unfold, the pressure on Sadiq Khan will only intensify. Opposition politicians are already calling for his resignation. Survivors and campaigners are demanding action. The media spotlight is now firmly focused on his handling of these issues. Now it's up to Sadiq Khan to provide answers. Real answers, not deflections or denials. The children of London deserve nothing less than the complete truth about what has been happening in their city and who has been covering it up. The scandal is far from over. In fact, it may only just be beginning.